then. All right, let's do this.
Hello.
Excellent. That's rolling. Most excellent. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. It's time for another episode of Couch Stories. This is the show where we talk a little bit with the guests that we just had on the podcast, learn a little bit more about this wonderful person that we had on the podcast, Chicago City Podcast, so you can learn more about what he is doing, how awesome he is. Follow him, follow his amazing band, and all other people we have on this segment, and have interesting stories about what happens in the wonderful city that we call Chicago. So I'd like to start this episode off by introducing our wonderful guest. It is the band leader, the extraordinary musician, pianist, songwriter, composer of all manner of amazing musical themes and songs and wonderfulness, and that is Maxx Mcgathey. Hello, Maxx.
Hello.
How are
Hello,
you?
Justin.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
That's excellent. I'm glad you are doing well.
Got a scotch in hand.
That's right. Cheers to you. Only the fine things on Couch Stories. Filled
fine
with
things.
scotch. That's right. That's right. Well, cheers. So, what I like to do in this segment, and we're gonna do a little different. Actually, you're a bit of a guinea pig for this segment, for this time around. So, obviously, I have some questions for you about who you are, how you got into music, and everything like that. Let me just give a brief synopsis for those who may have not listened to the podcast yet or watched it. But Maxx was just on the podcast with us, Ron, Norm, Joe, and myself, and we were talking about the music industry and what it's like for bands and niche bands like yourself, how you go about it, and where the state of music is today, and then what it's like running a band and what does success mean for a band. We had a really, really wonderful conversation. I really, really enjoyed it. I would have loved to have kept going, but we have to eventually cut those things short. But did you enjoy the conversation of being on the podcast?
It was great.
Excellent.
Good conversation.
Yeah. And we know each other from high school, so we both went to Bennett Academy, Bennett Red Wings out in Lisle, Naperville area. We were in the same class, so we knew of each other, but actually we've really kind of started to talk more and kind of work together a little bit more now that we've gotten a little older. And I saw you perform, and it's funny because two of my good friends, my friend and then his girlfriend, also know you, Corey,
from college.
Correct. So when I went to, they're like, hey, this great band is playing, where to go?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you and then other people from Ben. I was like, gee, fucking Maxx. So that was cool. And now we reconnected, and hopefully we'll do some work together on some short films and stuff as we've been discussing. But that's basically the synopsis. And what I would like to do here and what this is all about is I'd love to hear about some interesting stories you may have about living in the city. Before we get to a couple of those, let's just do some housekeeping things. So you run a band called Gramps the Vamp.
Yes.
And how would you describe the sound of Gramps the Vamp for those who would be unfamiliar with an amazing band?
Post-apocalyptic dance party.
That is the best explanation of anything I've ever heard.
With dark, heavy, and like a retro cinematic kind of style.
Yes, that is absolutely.
We've gone through many phases of how to describe it, but that's what we're on right now.
Excellent, fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely like something. It's obviously something you can dance to, and it's something that it's instrumental music that is has a lot of cinematic melodies, cinematic elements, very influenced by retro horror and sci-fi. From the 60s and 70s, and kind of uses that as a lot of inspiration.
Yes, that well stated. For someone like myself who has seen you perform now, I believe 5, maybe 6 times. I saw you perform on Halloween at the Owl. That was a great show. Y'all dressed up like ghouls. I mean, it was the whole ambiance of the show was delightful, and I was right there in the front, and it was great. I really enjoyed listening to your band. I love your songs. It's a really great vibe and atmosphere, and I am a sucker for bands that have horn section because I played saxophone.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever were in band. I feel like we might have been. Were you ever in jazz band in high school?
Yes.
I feel like maybe we were in jazz band together.
Maybe.
I dropped out eventually after a while because I was focusing on soccer and other shit.
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of the end of that. But so you run Grams the Vamp, lead composer, et cetera, et cetera. But when you and obviously you have an amazing sound, and we want to know. And as I've said, we'll post about when you have shows and stuff, so people can go and follow you and go see how great you are, because I know how great you are. But when you are not leading a band and composing music, you also teach music as well.
I
correct?
do.
So what is, first, before I ask you my question, let's start with this question. What kind of music are you teaching right now?
Oh, I'm teaching piano
Okay.
mostly, beginners to intermediate
Gotcha.
piano. Yeah, it's really a rewarding experience to just introduce somebody to the instrument.
Sure. Yeah. And are you primarily just a pianist, or do you play other instruments as well?
I dabble in other instruments, like I have a couple of guitars, and I get them out once in a while, and know chords and kind of know my way around the instrument. Same with like bass guitar.
Sure.
Haven't done a lot of drums, but piano is a rhythm instrument, so
Right.
I got like the basics, and I also I've been learning lately in the last couple of years. I've been learning theremin, which
What is that? I'm not familiar with that.
it was the first ever electronic instrument ever invented.
Huh.
It was invented. I'm gonna probably mess this date up, but I feel like in like the 1910s or early 20th century.
Okay.
In like, I want to say like Soviet Russia or something like that. And it was just this really obscure instrument, but it came to define science fiction sound.
Oh.
It's like that high-pitched sound that you hear on the
Yeah.
and you play it. It's essentially a synthesizer.
Okay.
You play it without actually touching the instrument. It's the only instrument you play without touching. Because there's an antenna on the left side which controls the volume. So the closer you are to it, the quieter it is. So you can control the volume like this, and the antenna on the right side controls the pitch. So the closer you are, the higher the pitch. And so it definitely requires a lot of requires an ear to be able to play, because you just kind of have to self-tune and
Sure. Yeah.
But I've been dabbling in that a little bit, and some other stuff here and there. But piano is the only thing I'd get paid to do.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. But you got some additional thing that you're aspiring to be good at other instruments. That's very cool. Well, when you're not teaching, you're not acquiring skills in the realm of music, what are some things that you, Max Mcgathey, like to do outside of that?
Ooh. I enjoy running.
Oh, that's right. You were a cross country guy.
I was actually not.
You were not a cross country guy. Okay. You acquired a love of running.
Surprisingly, I was in lacrosse.
Oh yeah. Okay. Nice.
Which
skinny
for a skinny guy, is very dangerous.
For skinny white guys, that's a good.
I like to run. Ride my bike everywhere. Do some active stuff. I like all the arts. I like reading. I like going to shows. I like seeing films, all that stuff. I'm pretty active in the art scene in Chicago.
Nice, very cool. You got to talk to Joe. Joe's trying to get very involved in the art scene. So you guys can maybe chat about that afterwards. Joe also a Bennett Academy Red Wing, by the way, which is interesting. Okay, very cool, very cool. I have one last question, and I want to get to some of the stories for Couch Stories. So my last question for you, just so that people can understand like your background of the band, because I don't know either, so I'm very curious. How did Grams the Vamp come about? And so that's part one. Then my part two would be, what would your ideal vision for Grams the Vamp be? Like, where would you like to be in 5 years with the band? Let's let these people know what they can expect.
And when I wanted to get together a house party band, like a band that would just play like some fun house shows in college.
Sure.
So I just got all the best musicians I could find, and we were playing like funk covers, like instrumental funk covers. We were very like straight ahead funk to start out, but it happened like our earliest show was a Halloween show, and it kind of like we were like, okay, let's do like a funk, like let's play funk and like get everyone dancing, but let's also like make it a little spookier, a little bit darker, heavier, just for the holiday, and it really had a really great response. It really caught on, and we really liked how it sounded. So we ended up writing more material in that style, and it's kind of started us on the trajectory that we've been on for the last 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just kind of started for a house party, grew into something a little bit more artistically fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What was the other question?
Part 2 was where do you see you guys in like 5 years from now? Like, what is your, because we were talking about this on the podcast, how like you need that person who's kind of drive the bus, which is you for the band. So like, where do you kind of see the band? Because you're, as we said, and as on the podcast we pledged to your Indiegogo, you're in the process of crafting a new album right now. So we wish you much luck and let us know when it's out, because we definitely want to promote it for you guys.
Thanks for contributing.
100%. Yeah, that was definitely always in the cards. But where do you see Grams the Band being in the future? Because you guys started from the house party thing, but now you've toured, you're coming out with albums, and you're playing around the city. I know you've played in other places beyond Chicago. So like, where do you want to be?
I'm pretty happy with what we're doing right now. I'd like to have us play more shows around the country. Possibly go overseas.
Yeah,
that would be amazing, because we have reached out to Europe a little bit, or I wouldn't say following, but we have people who have been into the music in Europe. So yeah, I see the band just keeping the post-apocalyptic dance party alive, and just keep it I suppose
all the ghouls and zombies come back.
Yeah.
The Grams the Band parties, man.
I would love for us to do more film stuff, because we have been featured in a couple of films.
Oh, cool.
Like one short film, one feature-length film, and so I'd love to do more of that, and just keep making the music.
Yeah.
Doing what we can. I mean, it's a large group. It's a 7-piece group, so it's hard to get everybody on board with a really packed schedule all the time. But I'm always writing music that's in that kind of style. So even if it's like something that happens, like we go really hard for a month or two and then take the rest of the year off, and then come back for a month or two and then take the rest of the year off, like something like that is awesome too. But right now I'm excited to release this new album.
Yes.
Not looking too farther down the road than that. I want to release this album. I want to tour. I'd love to do like 30 or 40 tour dates around North America, and in support of it, and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah. Well, those are good, lofty goals, one step at a time.
I try not to think too far ahead, because you just never really know.
You never know. Things happen.
But right now, it's really fulfilling. It's really satisfying to me, and it's something that excites me. That's the thing.
That's the thing. Yeah.
After 8.5, 9 years, it still excites me to make this music, and I feel like that's kind of rare. Like, most bands have a life of maybe like 2 years on average. So yeah,
that's excellent. Yeah. Well, I hope you accomplish all of those goals. So that's impressive, and we are going to continue to watch and support, and hope that you continue to tour and enjoy that, because that is, as we were talking about earlier, the life of the artist is the pursuit, the journey of it, enjoying what you're doing with the good people that you're doing it with, and I mean, it just makes life more fulfilling. If I feel like every human being should be doing creative endeavor, because otherwise you get into the doldrums of life of working and kids or some shit, and then that's that. But having some sort of creative outlet really kind of brings fulfillment. So happy that you have that with what you do with Grams Vamp and your music, and I hope that it continues.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to support you from Chicago City and myself personally. So I'll come to your shows. But yeah, well, let me move into a new segment. Well, it's not really a new segment. It's kind of what this is all about. But we're gonna try something a little different because on other Couch Stories we've just kind of like done straight interview type of things. But the title of the show is called Couch Stories. So I would like to get a couple of stories from you about your life here in Chicago. So we're starting with an easy one. At least I'm hoping it's going to be easy. So we all have had interesting times, I would say. Well, let me ask you this question because this will time is up. Have you used the loop, the CTA?
Yes, I have used the CTA.
Okay, great, good. So then I'll even broaden it out a little bit for you. So I'd be curious. We all have funny stories about riding on a red line or a blue line or some shit, or on the bus. So do you have any funny or like crazy? Have you had a crazy moment either on public transportation here in the city, either on the bus or on a CTA you could share?
Yeah, I feel like everybody does.
Right?
I'm notoriously bad at recalling these things, but I will. One that sticks out to me, it's a really short one.
Yeah.
Is I was with my friend Nick Cardelli, guitarist, and we were on the train. I think I was the red line, just talking really late at night, and all this, like, there's not very many people in the car, and all of a sudden, like a 6.5 foot tall man in a rabbit suit just like walks onto the train, and he's like, it's like the two of us, like one other person like on the edge of the train, and this rabbit.
And it wasn't Easter time.
And we are both kind of just like, it's really late, we just kind of like, I feel like a lot of you listeners know, like, you just kind of don't want to stir the pot on the CTA. You just kind of want to like be cool, just let things happen.
Right.
Get off at your stop.
Yeah, get off at your stop.
Yeah.
So we didn't really say anything. He gets off, and I turn to my friend Nick, and I'm like, what was up with that rabbit? And Nick's like, what rabbit? Which is exactly like true to character.
Yeah, that's delightful. That is great. Oh man, yeah. I find you definitely get the kooky characters coming on, particularly late at night or just random moments, and it's very interesting riding around public transportation. I haven't done as much of that as of late. So I'm working from home quite a bit now.
Yeah. And I also,
great area.
I ride my bike everywhere now.
Yeah.
So like I rarely use the CTA.
Yeah. I had been using it quite a bit for a while, but now I just got a new car, so I'm either driving my car, I'm taking Ubers, and I'm not like my place is not really a good area to like go take public transportation. I still gotta walk pretty far to get to the buses. I mean, it's just like it's more of a hassle in some cases. I'm not really near a brown line or anything, so
it's like 10 minutes away from here.
It's like 10. It's too long for me. Unless in the summertime I might. In the summertime, I might go use the brown line to get down for like meetings or something, because it's like, okay, it's only $2.50. It's nice out, but in the winter, I mean,
if you have a car, use it.
Yeah, right.
You're paying for the
right. Might as well fucking use the thing. So, it is technically winter time, and you're a born and bred Chicagoan, right?
Yeah. I was born in
the Bibes,
Loyola Hospital.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you know the hour? I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna give a shit. It's funny. I know some people are very particular about that though. They're like, I was born Monday, 24th of August at 9:15 p.m.
47%.
Yeah, that's right. It was in retrograde. The winter solstice was upon us. Yeah. But no, we don't need to get. That's funny. But it is wintertime. So I'm curious if you have, let me answer this. How long have you lived in the actual city proper?
Since 2008.
Okay, so a little while.
So yeah, like 11 and a half years.
Yeah.
That's math.
Yeah, that seems
That is math.
That's math. That's correct. Yes. Okay, so that's many winters here in the city.
Minus a couple of stints, like elsewhere, less than a year.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's still a
Yeah.
little thing. So do you have a really? So we had a polar vortex not that many years ago, whatever. Do you have an interesting story about traversing the harsh Chicago weather? Were you ever like stuck out in the weather or had to get somewhere in the weather? Because I've had many times where I've been like stuck trying to get somewhere and I'm like freezing my balls off because it's so cold. Or like being by the river and then like all of a sudden like that huge gust of wind just like hits you. Have you ever had any like experiences where you dealt with the harshness of Chicago weather and just was like, holy shit, this is intense?
I feel like it's every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I ride my, like, I am a avid cyclist.
Sure.
Don't own a car. I ride my bike everywhere.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, they kind of just all blend together. I don't know if I have a story.
Well, let me ask you, well, I'll just ask you about that then. So
Yeah.
since you're cycling, we'll start with that because that's actually an interesting thing. We'll staying on the topic for just a moment about dealing with the winter. Have you found now that you're cycling, it's more difficult with the winter conditions to cycle than taking other forms of transportation, or have you enjoyed it more? Or what are some of the things that you notice with that?
So I live in Humboldt Park. There's not a very easy, like, I think it takes like 22 to 25 minutes to walk to the Blue Line.
Okay.
From where I live. So it's not a very, at that point I might as well just bike anywhere in the city.
Right.
So I end up doing that, and I've borrowed a car from family members in the past, and like for winters and stuff like that. But this winter I've done very little of that, and I've noticed that the winter, I mean, it hasn't been a super bad winter, but it has been pretty cold for a few weeks, and I've noticed it just hasn't been as bad. It just hasn't felt as bad. Like once you just commit to being out in it and you bundle up, I have a really nice big coat, huge, like, you know, it's like a Arctic Explorer,
right,
hood.
Yes.
And once you just like get yourself all bundled up and just commit to it, it doesn't feel that bad to me. So
that's good.
I think it's when you take public transit every day and then you bike one day or something like that, or you drive every day and you bike one day in the winter, then it's like that day sucks.
Right. But other than that,
I think if you commit to it,
it's worthwhile pursuit. Yeah. Have you as you've been cycling around had dealt with any crazy drivers or had any? Is there
just like
it's an everyday thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've had people like less in the city, but I've had people yell at me like, "Get a car," which is just a funny, ridiculous thing. Like,
oh, it's funny. I've never.
I don't know how to process it.
Right? Yeah. It's
just,
like, you know, that's
crazy people like mad that I'm taking up a quarter of the road.
Right. Because then they would invariably be yelling at you because you stopped too soon or some other bullshit. Yeah. So there's no pleasing some people.
I have been pulled over by a cop, which I didn't even think that was possible, but I got pulled over by a cop
really on
my bicycle because I cut through a sidewalk. And sidewalks that you're not in Chicago is supposed to ride on the sidewalk. And they're like, you know, it was like a normal, like they walked behind me, you know, hands on their firearms, and I was like, oh, what is going on here? You know, like obviously, like that's what they do, but that's just the protocol. But they're just like, yeah, you know, it's not a ticketable offense, but since we saw you riding on the sidewalk, we have to stop you and take your driver's license. And I'm like, I'm riding a bike. I'm riding a bicycle. There's no one else. It's it's January.
Right.
No one's on this sidewalk. But
But
rules
are rules.
They're doing their job.
They're doing their jobs. Oh, CPD.
Stop resisting, sir.
Stop resisting. Yeah. Stop resisting on your bicycle. Hilarious. I have a gun. Okay. All right. Cool. Oh, that's interesting. Very nifty. Well, let me switch a little bit here and ask you if you have any interesting perspective or stories about performing here in Chicago, or it could be outside of Chicago. If you have a good Chicago one, that would be preferable. But if any point, do you have any stories from performing where like it was something unexpected happened during a performance where it challenged you to bits in some way, or you had to adjust or something to make the show work? I find that those are always interesting moments, and sometimes can be the most rewarding moments when something doesn't go exactly how you intended or planned, but then it ends up being rewarding because you either learned something from it, even if you failed in the moment, or you end up producing something even greater despite having to overcome some circumstances. And have you experienced?
Yeah, a couple things come to mind. One was, it was the band I had before Grams the Vamp. We were called Map Maker. And we were playing at Subterranean in Wicker Park.
Yeah, great.
And I remember like, it was a part of the song where it was just piano and I was singing. It was just me singing and playing piano. And the rest of the band was coming in like 30 seconds later. And all of a sudden, someone just walks on stage, grabs my sweater, not too different than this cardigan I'm wearing right now. Grabs my sweater, holds it up, and is like, "Is this the one you're looking for?"
In the middle of the performance.
In the middle, like it's like my like solo, very quiet kind of like everybody's hushed, like, and he just like, "Is this the one?" He's got a beer in his hand. He's like, "Is this the one?"
Was it behind your chair?
It was like he walked up like 3 feet away from me. Like I had put it like on my amp.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I understand.
So he walked up on stage, went to my amp, took my sweater.
Wow.
And was like, "Is this the one you're looking for?" And
jeez Louise.
And I didn't know what to do. Like this was I was younger, I was less experienced. I think today if that happened, I would have stopped the song and be like, "Get the fuck off this stage."
Yeah, sure.
Because this is so rude.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
But I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of like went pale and just kept going. Show must go on kind of style.
Sure.
But it was, it sucked. I mean, like, sometimes as a performer, you just have, like, weird...
Yeah, you just gotta...
Like, not everybody knows the etiquette of going to a show. And
which is kind of
or
silly.
maybe they do and they just didn't care.
Or he was just super drunk.
Or drunk,
You basically... I didn't know that was possible. You got heckled in a music performance.
I mean, it wasn't really even... It was just a disregard. Like, it wasn't even directed at me. It was just like
not understanding.
Some guy's friend was like, "Yeah, I want to leave, but like I think my sweater's on stage." And my guy was like, "All right, I'll go out and get it." Whatever.
Yeah.
So that happened. That happened. I remember the release of Gramps the Vamp's last record, 2016. Our release show was during one of the Cubs World Series games.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a Sox fan, but
okay, well that takes out one question from the audience.
I'm a long time born and raised Sox fan.
Got it. Okay.
But I remember like that just being tough is like just seeing. I don't blame you guys. Like it's historic. They're like it was Lincoln Hall, so like they have the really nice like venue space, and then but to see the TVs in the bar area, you have to like go out the door.
Right. So
go out the door,
going out, looking, but
coming back. And,
yeah, that's distracting.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I don't know if that's really a story, but it was just like some adversity to learn from and get over, and just like, all right, people, you just have to do your thing. People aren't always going to be focused, especially if there's something else going on. Like you just have to like do your job as a performer and just give the best performance you have. Not let that affect you. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Bad timing.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, yeah, I mean, I can share a similar story with my show, and I just met with the guys last night. So I do an Irish improv show with my two buddies, and we had just done really well. We had done a 3-week run in March, and it was going very well. And then they were like, hey, do you want to do a show one show a month, which is what we wanted at the time. We're like, yeah, 100% sure. Well, the first 3 months that we were going to do our show, we picked Sunday nights, like the last Sunday of every month. Well, we ended up having a great string of luck where in April, it was the Game of Thrones premiere for the final season. So nobody showed up for that.
Yeah.
Then we had Memorial Day weekend after that. And then we had Gay Pride weekend after that. It was
Tough
like
time competing with those.
It was like, Jesus Christ, how much could, what a horrible timing we chose. Why did we pick Thursday nights? But yeah, sometimes there's just nothing you can do, but you got to just go out there, and whoever is there, you perform because you're doing something you love. You just kind of
It's interesting. I feel like, I don't know if this is unique to Chicago or not, but it feels like there is sort of like a rhythm. To whether people are interested in going out or not. Like,
it depends. The
like,
season,
you're always rolling the dice.
Out because although this winter has not been as bad as other winters, but there's still just the stigma of it's the winter, it's cold outside, I'm gonna stay inside.
Yeah.
You get your
I'm guilty.
what's the term? Not cuddle buddy. Your you know what I'm talking about? The cuffing season.
Oh, I just heard about that.
Yeah. There's a term, Yeah. So cuffing season, where you find a significant other and hibernate throughout the winter. All right. Well, last quick. Oh, I don't know if it's quick, but last question of a story or something I'm curious about. I always find this interesting to ask other people who are performers and artists and whatnot. And then we're going to get to the lightning round after this, and then we're done. So be prepared. But my last question of a story or maybe an experience you could share being a performer. Has there been another performer or some other type of performance you have witnessed or seen that really influenced you? And how did that shape how you went about your performances?
Performer.
Or a singular performance you may have seen where you're like, ooh, that was really great. I want to use that, or I've never considered doing something like that, or something of that nature in some way.
Well, I will say one of the best shows I've ever seen, and whenever you see a show that is the best show you've ever seen, you take a lot of stuff from it.
Of course.
Is Corey Henry, who is an organist, organist keyboard player, phenomenal player, and his band called the Funk Apostles. I've seen them 3 times.
Yeah.
And I feel like my top 3 favorite shows have been all of his shows.
All of his shows. Well, with a name like Funk Apostles,
if you haven't checked him out. So he's literally the most skilled keyboard player you'll ever see. And he surrounds himself with so many musicians that are top in their field that he doesn't even play the whole time. He just walks around the stage empowering them. And his presence and just command of the band and command of the audience is just so inspiring. The way he just there's no an audience can sense fear.
Sure. Oh, 100%. Yeah. And they'll turn on you.
And there's no fear. There's no there's just pure music and pure love for what he's doing. In the way that he just and he also directs the crowd to get involved with chants or with with singing along to the melodies and stuff. Just really an inspiring performance from everyone on that stage, but especially Corey Henry being a band leader.
Yeah. What did you take away from seeing that for using with Graham Savamp?
I think just how confidence can really just electrify an audience, and if you are totally confident in what you're doing, people are going to feed off that, just how I fed off of his performances. And I think it inspires me also to I mean, he does a lot of like on the fly arranging like horns, and he'll like point at the horns and make some hand signal, and they'll do something different. Or like, like the vocal. Secret. I actually don't think they have horns. They have vocalists.
Sure.
I'm just used to saying horns.
Sure.
They have vocalists and just like directing them to do different things on the fly, which is amazing. But even just like empowering the band and giving clear cues and just being it inspires me to just be like so prepared and ready to take command of the performance.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Check them out though.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Corey Henry and the Funk
Joe, you're on top of Joey's the guy who's on top of these things.
Corey Henry is one of the original keyboard. I don't think he plays with them anymore, but the original keyboard players for the band Snarky Puppy, which is a really popular. Like they're huge. If you haven't heard of them, it sounds ridiculous, but they play Millennium Park.
Nice.
Like they're like a huge jazz fusion band.
Yeah.
And he's one of those members split off, did his own thing. Corey Henry. Check it out.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. We're going to move to the last section of Couch Stories, and that is the lightning round. Ding, ding, ding. And okay, so this is gonna be easy. So I'm just gonna ask you a bunch of very quick questions about Chicago and your preferences and stuff like that. Some will be a little bit more open-ended. A lot of them will be very quick. Just give me the first answer of what your preference is, and that's it. Very simple. And then that's it, and then you're done.
Cool.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Ready.
Excellent. Okay, well, we already know Sox fan, so that one takes that out.
Sox fan.
So you're from the burbs, but you live in the city. Do you prefer the city or do you prefer the burbs?
The city.
Okay, excellent. Which is your favorite hood to go hang out in?
Hang out?
Yes.
Ooh. I love. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like to explore different neighborhoods all the time. I would say like if I'm gonna go just like hang somewhere and just like walk around, Pilsen.
Pilsen, good area. Very good area.
It's a fun area to just like walk around in. There's a lot of interesting things going on.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, Sears Tower or John Hancock?
I like the Hancock building. I like how it looks. I think it's a little more elegant, a little less boxy.
Mm-hmm.
I like that area. It's just a fun happening area. I mean, it's like touristy, but it's fun to walk around there. Also, a little bit of a shout out to Loyola's downtown campus. That's real close to there. So I was over there a lot when I was going to college at Loyola.
Nice. Okay. River North or the Loop?
The Loop.
The Loop?
Because River North is.
Yeah, sure.
River North is something.
Yes, it is.
But the Loop, I mean, the Loop gets a bad rap, touristy, financial district, all that stuff.
Right.
But like, they have the Art Institute. They have which is my favorite thing to do, favorite touristy thing to do in Chicago.
Okay.
So yeah, I like the Loop. I like walking along the lake over there. And
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Riverwalk or beach?
Riverwalk.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you had to choose a beach, North Avenue Beach, Montrose Beach, Foster Beach?
Loyola Beach.
Loyola Beach. I'm unfamiliar with the Loyola Beach.
Loyola Beach is, I used to live right off the beach when I was going to Loyola up in Rogers Park. And I mean, it's off the beaten path, and it's a really beautiful beach and has a nice little pier that I did a lot of contemplating in my early 20s.
Nice. Planetarium or aquarium?
I would say the aquarium.
Ah, okay.
Living things.
Living things. You go
living
look
things are more interesting than fake stars, I guess.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, planetarium.
No problem. Okay. Millennium Park or Grant Park?
Millennium Park.
Okay. All right, so what do you think is a little bit more iconic, the bean or the Buckingham Fountain?
Buckingham Fountain is more
Really?
iconic.
Okay, I would actually kind of agree. I mean, like more people go to the bean, but that's interesting that you said.
I think it's just a matter of the Buckingham is so much older.
True. Also true.
But I mean, the bean is definitely stands out more.
Okay. All right. Favorite deep dish pizza place?
Pequod's.
Okay, that's a good answer. Are you gonna go for an Italian beef or Chicago style hot dog?
I get hot dogs more often, but nothing beats Portillo's Italian beef.
Okay, I was going to move to the next question. Portillo's or Al's?
I'm beating all your questions.
You're beating all my questions to the punch, man. God, you're so
definitely
good.
Portillo's.
Yeah.
I don't understand the Al's thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Portillo's is so much better.
Well, we're going to actually do the beef off relatively soon. We're going to try out a bunch of beefs around the city, so look out for that one. Plug. Yeah, I know everybody wants to be part of that. Everybody's like, that sounds so dope, but okay. All right. What west side, south side, the loop, or north side? What is your side? What is your side? Where do you most identify? Because you're a Sox fan.
Yeah, I'm a Sox fan.
Not the loop, but
my parents' families originate from south suburbs, so but I don't spend enough time there to name that one as my favorite. But I'd have to go west. I just like I like what's going on on the west side, Ukrainian Village, Bucktown, Wicker Park, Logan Square, Humboldt Park. That's where I live.
Yeah.
That's where I spend most of my time.
Yes. Okay. Well, we already know that you'd probably pick guaranteed rate field now because you're a Sox fan. So let me get into I know it's still Comiskey. It's Comiskey, just like it's Sears Tower. But let me ask you this: for other sports, are you more going to be watching the Hawks, the Brewers, or the Bulls? If you had to watch something outside of baseball,
I would pick the Hawks.
The Hawks. Nice.
And that's just because I think that's a more fun sport to watch.
It is very fun. It is very fun. I've never heard anybody say that they don't like a hockey game.
It's a fun sport.
Experience. Okay, very cool. All right. So here's I got one last question. Well, I'm gonna ask you this one first. I know you said the Art Institute, but Field Museum or the Science Museum and Industry? Because obviously you were like the Art Institute.
Yeah. I like the Field Museum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Dinosaurs.
Yes, dinosaurs indeed. Okay. All right. Now that we got that last one out of the way, this is the last one. I ask everybody this. Since you're a Chicago born and bred guy, some of the other questions don't make sense, but this one definitely would. And I love asking everybody this question, and that is, if you were going to give a piece of advice to somebody who was either coming to visit Chicago or moving to Chicago to live, what piece of advice would you give that person?
Explore the neighborhoods. You're gonna find so much different stuff in each neighborhood. Like all the neighborhoods are so different. Don't get stuck in whatever neighborhood you read on Reddit is like the place where you should be. Explore, get out there. Don't be afraid to check out new places and just experience everything the city has to offer.
Nice. I want to ask you one last question. What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Oh, I think the best piece of advice I've ever gotten is you make your own success. My piano professor in college who told me that, and he is an amazing pianist, amazing artist. Started his own record label. Pretty much just created everything that he reaps the benefits of now. And I think a lot of artists go through their careers waiting for somebody to sweep them off their feet and give them their break. Don't wait for that. Create your own success, I think, is the best advice.
Nice.
Well, Max Mcgathey, you just survived the lightning round and an episode of Couch Stories. How do you feel?
I barely made it.
I know.
But I'm here.
There you are. You started on the couch and and you're still on the couch. Fantastic.
It was a whirlwind.
It was. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show and being a part of the Couch Stories. Yeah, I really enjoyed chatting with you, man. I'm looking forward to working with you in the future here on some short films and things that you had mentioned.
Yes.
I know we're definitely going to talk more about that. So for those watching, check him out. Gramps the Vamp, Max Mcgathey. Max, I know you've mentioned this on the podcast, but also for anybody who's watching this or listening to this episode, where can they find more information about you and your wonderful band?
You can go to grampsthevamp.com. That's Gramps the Vamp, Grandfather the Vampire.
Nice.
And you can also, we have an Indiegogo campaign running for until March 17th, until St. Patrick's Day.
Nice.
So if you hear this before then, definitely check that out.
We'll definitely be posting.
Search us on Indiegogo and grab our new record.
Yes, we'll definitely be posting all those links in the iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. You'll have access to the links, particularly on all the YouTube stuff as well. So, Max, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And if you enjoyed listening to this episode of Couch Stories and wonderful people like Max Mcgathey, who run amazing bands like Gramps the Vamp, you want to learn more about cool people in Chicago doing cool things like Max, then follow the Chicago 60 and Couch Stories. Go to Chicago 60 on Facebook, like and follow us there. Go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell. New comedy videos every Thursday, new Couch Stories, new podcasts, new bunch of short films, all coming out on there. So go do that. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review and like and subscribe this podcast. It really helps us with the rankings. And let us know what you think by leaving us that review. Let us know if we're doing great and if you like the content. And also, our Instagram is Chicago_60, Chicago_60. We put a lot of behind-the-scenes photos and everything up there by our wonderful man, Norm Burt, who's standing right over there, right next to me. So please go follow us and do that so we can continue to promote wonderful people like Max and bring you amazing cool people that are doing cool shit in our city that we love, which is Chicago. So for that, please go and follow us and help us out. We'll be posting all the links and stuff so you can go support Max and Gramps the Vamp. And that was another episode of Couch Stories. Thank you very much. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.